Hi everyone, Brian here. I know normally you don't see my face, right? You see my hands and the cards that we're looking at, and that's intentional. I don't want you to look at me. I don't want you to focus on me. I want the focus to be on the cards, the industry, the photographs, all of the things that go into a particular card set that are not about me. I'm just a vehicle for showing you these things. But today I did want to spend a little bit of time talking about the meta of the hobby, specifically the twin rumors that are going around that Fanatics entered into an exclusivity agreement with a print house that had been producing Panini of America cards, thereby forcing Panini to stop printing cards. The secondary rumor that goes with that is that because of this, Fanatics was able to basically force Panini's hand and has entered into an agreement to purchase Panini of America. I want to start by saying that Panini is a terrible company. They produce absolute crap cards. They produce way too many of them. They're not at all honest about the rates of insertion on their parallels and on their special inserts. They produce too many special inserts for every series. Their quality control is terrible. Their print quality is terrible. I have a bunch of playoff cards where you can't even read the names of the players because the foil that was used to imprint on the names is so mottled. And those were purchases from a hobby shop, from a local card shop. I mean, these are cards that should be high quality, they should be good, but they're just not. I mean, Panini, frankly, they suck, and they know that they suck. And the reason that they suck is because they know that they're losing the licenses for their two big brands, the NFL and the NBA, or two big brands in America anyway. Of course, they still have the licenses for Formula One and for FIFA, but they are producing crap cards because they don't need to care. They after 2026 when their licenses run out, like what's the point? Like who gives a shit, honestly? That's clearly their intention, clearly their attitude on the topic, and they've made that very clear to hobbyists by producing way too many cards, by cross mixing brands, and by producing absolute crap. That said, I don't like the idea of Fanatics being the only game in town for purchasing for the three major sports leagues. Well, I shouldn't be entirely unfair there. Upper Deck still has the contract for the NHL. Good for you. Keep up the good work. I hope you succeed. But, I mean, Fanatics, first off, they've made no secret about their interest in conquering the universe, and that's generally not something that is something to be celebrated. And secondly, if Fanatics is the only game in town, we're going to lose two major issues, or two major factors that make the hobby good. One of them is innovation. I know Topps has a release calendar that's like 200 items long, or Fanatics does rather, and Topps Baseball is part of that. They've got Topps Chrome clearly, but that has its own issues because they can't even be bothered to insert the rookie short prints in Topps Chrome this year or last year. They've got Fire, which is a fairly new release. I happen to like that a lot. They've got Stadium Club coming out. They've got the Heritage, and they've got their base set, and they've got Update. I mean, Topps is not hurting for product, but there's always an opportunity to do more, to be more exciting with the way the hobby is produced, and for no other reason than to say one nice thing about Panini, that is that they were a buffer for Topps. They were a buffer for Fanatics broadly. They managed to produce products that, at least were different from what Topps was producing. If we look back to the junk wax era, part of the reason the junk wax era occurred was because Topps lost a lawsuit where they had an exclusivity agreement with the MLBPA. They lost that exclusivity as a result of a lawsuit in 1981. The result was an explosion of new brands. I mean, Fleer had been the counterparty in that lawsuit. Fleer produced baseball cards all the way up through 2007 when they were purchased by Upper Deck and got shut down. But you've got Upper Deck being released in 1989, which absolutely changed the face of the hobby. You've got Pro Set Football in 1989, Score Football in 1989. Donruss, which had been a bit player in the market up through the early 1980s, suddenly exploded onto the scene in the mid 1980s. And you had all of these really cool new designs, new ways of thinking about cards, production, layout, design, photography. All of that made the hobby interesting and vibrant and really revitalized the hobby in a way that couldn't be stopped until the 1994 baseball strike, which was all Bud Selig's fault. Fuck you, Bud Selig. So, that innovation, it cheapened the hobby, of course, because you had all of these people producing literally billions of cards, so no individual card had any real value. But it also made the hobby accessible. It made it possible for young collectors, new collectors to get in at a very bargain basement price point. And that's good because The future of the hobby is future collectors. If Fanatics is the only game in town, well, first off, there's not a lot of pressure for them to be new and innovative. They might get stagnant, and there's nothing to stop them from doing that. And secondly, the price points are suddenly going to be an issue, right? If Fanatics has nobody competing against them in the marketplace, then who's to say that they won't decide that, for example, a $29.99 retail box for the base series Topps Baseball isn't enough? Maybe they'll start charging $39.99 or $49.99, and there will be no one to stop them except for ultimately the capacity of hobbyist wallets to bear that cost. And who's to say what that capacity really is? I worry a little bit that Topps will release products that just cost too much for people to enter into the hobby, for people to keep up with the hobby, especially those tangential ancillary collectors, people who maybe just buy $20 or $30 worth of cards a week, if that. So, that's my 2 cents. I think any potential merger between Fanatics and Panini of America would be bad. I think it would be bad for competition. I think it would be bad for innovation. I think it would harm the hobby. I think it would be bad for collectors and hobbyists. Even if Panini is garbage, there's nothing to say that there can't be other companies out there. But I don't know. I don't know. And now, admittedly, this is all rumor, right? I said at the opening that this was all rumor. I would like it to continue to be rumor. I would like it to not be real. But who knows? I think it's bad. You may think otherwise. Feel free to use the comment section. That's literally what the comment section is for. Drop a like, drop a subscribe. Tell me your thoughts. Thanks for watching.